See me.
Oh,
You
everybody
see me.
run.
You can see me. You can see. Okay, you can see. You can see fucking Mystic. There he is with his blue background, like fucking Frozen. Um, welcome, my
Let it
lovely
go.
fucking
Let it go.
demons.
Walk
Let me just
through
tell you all
wind
right
and
now, you are
snow.
so fucking beautiful, every single fucking one of you. I love you so fucking much. Thank you for being here. Okay, so let's get this music to an end. By the way, this is Death Metal Kyle. If you guys make fucking videos, it is completely fucking DMCA free. Nothing's gonna happen to you for using it. Death Metal Kyle. Okay, on Spotify. Awesome music. Love the fucking music. Get this reduced a little bit though. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep the music going in the background. So, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, welcome to the Malice Experience. I am Mr. Malice, and as always, I am joined by Mystic Salon, which is sitting there like a statue for some reason. Um, so yes, Death Metal Kyle. Death Metal Kyle, one word. So today what we're going to be talking about, so obviously the first thing we're going to be starting with, once I'm done with the intro here, we're going to be starting out with our weekly tarot read. But getting into it, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to cover just a little bit. We're going to be talking about EA Koetting a little bit more. There's a firestorm of shit that happened with the last video that we did, the last live that we did in regards to EA Koetting. So there's certain comments I would like to address. Hopefully some of the people that had, doubts and things like that are in the chat. So there can be a conversation that happens. I'm not looking to attack anybody. I'm just looking to have a conversation. But there's a few things that I disagree with, and I kind of want to clarify with the comments that happened. We are going to be discussing the left-hand path and Baphomet a little bit more specifically tonight. And the reason we're going to be discussing that is because, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested, come 2022, I will be publishing a book on Baphomet. No title just yet. I kind of just want to call it the Book of Baphomet, but we'll see what happens. So I kind of want to get into that. I want to talk about that a little bit. It's all handwritten. We're probably going to be going through Amazon Publishing. Might check a few other publishing companies, but we're definitely going to give that a shot. Helena. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. I apologize. Lady Warrior. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lovely to see you. Serpent Priestess L'Oreal. Lorelei, sorry. Oof, I fucked that one up. Welcome.
Yeah, do you want me to
Good
take
to
over
see-
the chat read? Because
No,
yeah,
fuck off.
you're
no,
batting out
well,
here, man.
I am not batting out. I am
Batting
not
out.
batting out.
Batting out.
Well, I mean, Lorelei kind of changes her name every week, so it's a little hard to keep up. So, we've got Noella in here. Noella, welcome, welcome. Rook, welcome. Who else do we have? Jay, welcome. Good to see you as always. Thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Anyone else that is lurking in the chat, thank you for being here. I won't anymore, sorry. At least I know it's you, Lorelei. At least I know it's you, right? Because the Lorelei part doesn't change, so I do know that it's you. So thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. So definitely, yes, 2022, I will be publishing a book. Now, if I could do publishing for free and give you the book for free, I would. I totally would. I do not like charging for anything that I provide you guys with. But if I have any hope to reach a large base audience, I do need to publish directly. So there's going to be a charge for the book. I'm going to try to keep it between $15 to $20, if not less. So keep an ear to the ground for that, because that is going to be coming in 2022, most definitely. So before we go any further into anything else, okay, if you guys aren't a part of the Gilded server that we have, please join the Gilded server. We have a Gilded server specifically for teaching. So that is for teaching the left-hand path. That is for teaching Wicca. That is for teaching paganism in general. Mystic will be posting that link. It will be Two Pondering Pagans. Two Pondering Pagans in the chat is Mystic, by the way. Okay. So that will be in the chat. So if you're interested in joining, I will personally try to be more active on there. I know that Mystic and Rook are very active on there. Anything you guys have questions with, you want to learn, you want to share, even if you want to share something, please do it on there. Please share with us, the things that you have going on, your rituals, your spells, your results, things like that. Tell us what works, what doesn't work. We want to hear, we want to know more about you guys and what you guys are doing. We want to all work together as a community here in the magic that we're producing. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Just to add real quick to that, I think, I mean, we're still obviously working on getting some more participants, but the idea really isn't to like go in and, oh, I'm going to be a student. Although that's a good thing, you can be a student to it. But the amount of stuff that we learn from having those conversations, and the fact that we only have what, 3 maybe different groups right now. My brain is like, it would be great people who are really, really confident in their message and the things that they're on. If it's not the same message as what we're doing, let us know. We can create an actual server for that, and that can be
Yep.
something that you can share on there. So it's really about bringing all
Exactly.
the different ones together.
Exactly. We're just kind of waiting for Mystic to kind of get the link in there so you guys can join. So Paranormal Witch, welcome, welcome. So good to see you.
It's 4
Um,
messages up from Paranormal Witches. Hello, been in
okay,
there
okay. I didn't see it. I still
saying,
don't see it actually.
did I get
Um,
blocked out because I'm not a person? Paranormal might have to approve it. I don't know, because it's a
possibly,
link.
possibly. I might have to. I might have to mod you. I might have to mod you so you can do that. Let's see here. I mod you in here.
Rook,
Add
do you see it in the
moderator.
chat?
There, you are now a moderator. You can now do it. There you go. So also, Lady Warrior. Oh, Malice. So no, I am not married. I am divorced, but I am spoken for. Uh, um, so yeah, and I wouldn't say that my partner is left hand path, though I do think that she does have, is very open, is very open. Yeah. Um, Mystic is not left hand path. He is dragon, for lack of a better term. Kind of like the general terminology we just decided to go with. So before we get into anything else, before we get into EA left hand path and Baphomet, okay, Arctic, welcome, 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 welcome. Good to see you. Not a problem at all, Lady Warrior. Not a problem at all. So I would love to share with you guys who has me taken, but that is not information I can share at this time. Um, there are surrounding circumstances that require that I keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
I would love to go to the top of the mountain and scream it out loud, but I am unable to do so. So Mystic, um, so this is also going to be the last show where we're going to be doing Mystic's tarot thing with him with like 2 separate windows, like me and him. So starting next week, he's going to have his own window,
Oh,
full
blessed
screen,
be.
so you guys can see the cards better. You can pay attention to him and not see me kind of sit here playing with my lip ring. Uh, so
I think
next
that's what
week is
people come for. It's not for the tarot.
right. They come for me to watch me play with my lip ring because they just love my oral fixation.
Things I didn't know for 1,000, Alex. Thanks.
Um,
Oh,
so um, we are going to be getting into the tarot deck of the week and the reading of the week. Mystic, please take it away.
alrighty. So some interesting things have been happening. I've been doing a lot of tarot lately. This weekend we did some tarot. Actually, yesterday. And I would say out of the last 3 or 4 reads, what I'm noticing is a missing air element. Very strange, but in the like 10, 12, 15, 16 card draws, we did a Samhain spread. We've done a lot of different draws, and it completely missing the air element in those draws. So just wanted to start with that because, when it comes to tarot, those trends and those thoughts and those pieces really do play into the read, right? So if you're looking at it reading and you're trending stuff and you're seeing that come up in your reads, it means something. So we're going to see if we get any air tonight out of this Revelations Tarot. This is a new tarot that I haven't used on here before. It's not new to me, but oh god, that ring light is terrible. But this is a really different deck that I wanted to share with everybody. It's by a gentleman named Zach Wong. Zach is from Malaysia and was interested in tarot, a lot of different religious and divination methods, and basically that felt like none of them really worked for him and his beliefs. So he used Rider Waite deck, and he went on a pretty long journey of figuring out and writing his own deck to figure out, what can this deck do for him, and what, can he come up with. And so he does have a 78 card deck. It is very similar to Rider Waite, but the imagery is definitely not my cup of tea. It's very busy. It's very stained glass and watercolory. Not that those two things are bad in and of themselves, but it's different, and you're going to see why. They're busy. It's just very busy cards, but they're very easy to read. First thing, standard card, nothing different. Blue back, reversible. Very important in this deck. Reversals is like, if you're somebody who reads tarot and you don't read reversals, this deck will throw you, because this is one that you need to read reversals with. So, and paranormal, these are not new. I've had these glasses for like 8 years. I just usually wear contacts, but my eyes are needing a break. And if you look close enough, these are quite chewed up by my lovely puppy, who's also painted paw prints all over the house. Sorry.
What the hell happened to your audio?
I think the dog's capped out the max, when it does the, I don't want to blow up your computer or your ears. It mutes everything because the dog started barking.
Okay, so your noise gate kicked in.
Yeah, nose gate. Thank you. But anyway, so I'm gonna just give you a couple of the cards. So we do look at a couple of them, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'm gonna give you a minute to kind of look at them. And the gain is all the way down, by the way. So let's see if we can get a good image there. So this is the Fool. I think you can still see the Rider Waite Impressionist in here. You've got the individual, the Fool, with his stick and his sack, and he's taking a leap of faith, right? Pretty cool. Now, notice if this was a reversal. Same image, same card, completely different meaning. So every single card in this deck has a dual image. This has been done before. It's not like earth-shattering, oh my god, I can't believe it, but it's just a different way to read, and it's very helpful if you're learning the reversals. So this is the Magician. You still have the Infinity. You still have the idea. I know it's a little blurry, but you still have the idea behind the Magician, which is manifest your magic. You have your tools, use it. Everything is represented in the Magician. You have Infinity, you have Earth, Fire, Water, Air. It's all there. But if this card happens to be reversed in your reading, you have a different expression, different focus for the particular card. So just this, every single card is like that. I'm not going to go through everyone, obviously. I'm going to pull the main ones that we usually pull. And then I got a Shafu. Hangman. Now, upright hanged man. Interesting, isn't it? Right? You don't see hangman upright very often. So in the read, this is going to change the meaning of the hanged man. And it gives that positive connotation, I think, to it, that, when you pull a hangman, a lot of people will have that whole, it's, things are being turned upside down for you. Well, for me, it's really more about changing your perspective. But whether it's reversed or not is who chooses that perspective change, forced perspective change, or you're ready to look at things a different way. So if you were to pull this again reversed, you get a different meaning. So your hangman flips. So you've always got one upright, one down. So interesting. It's very neat. The death card, pretty what do you call it? I don't want to say expected, but again, not earth shattering, but it's clearer on the actual message. Had to cover my face to get it in focus. I keep forgetting. So you can see the skull in the background. You've got death here. Death is, in a traditional tarot, breaking, you have your own chains that bind you. You're creating your own problems. But death is also something that means ends, of course, but it also means new beginnings. So that's why they have the baby on the flip side. So this, again, would be a reversal reading for the death card. And then I think you're gonna like this one, the two versions of the devil. We have your devil upright. And your devil reversed. So this is just, again, stupid light. There we go.
I
gotta
like
find
how
a better
they
way.
did that. I like how they did that with the art.
Yeah, and the art for these cards actually it was designed for Terra. Like that's what the art came from, was his Terra deck, but it's actually a showcased art gallery. I just don't know where. I didn't look it up that far. I didn't get that far
I
into
think that
detail.
like with the way that that is set up, that would be really well kind of positioned for kind of like beginners trying to do interpretive readings, like with the kind of like the duality of each card in upward position and the reverse position, kind of being able to kind of see an image that kind of is representative of the actual meaning or the reversed meaning. I think would be really good for somebody trying to get into interpretive reading.
100%, and it gets the people away from the idea that upright good, reversed bad. Because that's not how you read reversal, or at least not how I read reversals. I won't say that's not how anybody reads them, but just because something is upside down, doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just like those optical illusions where you focus on a different part of it, you see something different. The reversal is designed to give you a new perspective, not just to say that it's bad or it's an obstacle. But again, not judging anybody that does read that way. I mean, that's you do you, boo. I've never said that before in my life until I came on this channel. I'm just saying.
Good, you're growing.
Ugh. That is not growth. That is like makes me want to go watch
When
that
was the
movie,
last time you've
Legally
ever
Blonde.
seen? When was the last time you ever saw a Satanist just say, "Hey, you do you, boo"? I mean, come on. I mean, you know, every single one of you are my boo. Just saying. Just saying. I don't care. You can like it, you can love it, you can hate it. Right? I love
I'm
every
just
single one of you.
saying.
So all of you are my boo.
You ain't gotta call me your boo. Never mind.
God damn.
I'm showing my age. Well, a little bit of it. That's not that old. Well, yeah, it's kind of old.
Little bit there, man.
I think I was already out of college when that came out, or at least in college. First time when I used to sit outside of the building.
So before you get into the read, I actually wanted to mention a couple of decks that I saw on Amazon that I actually just purchased.
Ooh, I'll let you know if I have them or not.
So for those of you that are interested in classic kind of like gypsy style cards, so something that I've been looking into heavily is, so generally speaking, I'm very good with oracle decks. I don't necessarily jump into what'd you call it, tarot. I like them, but I don't like the fact that they're very restrictive in the idea of their meaning basing themselves off of Rider White. Rider White is like the kind of like baseline for tarot. So there are two decks in particular that I found on Amazon. Just kind of scrolling through and looking for, particular decks that kind of fit what I was looking for. There are conjure cards, fortune telling cards, and guidebook by Jake Richards.
Good one.
Okay. All right. I fucking love the way those look. Okay. Yes, Noella, Ziggy is queen. Always. And then there is one that I found that's actually pretty cheap on Amazon. It's published by US Games. It's Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards. Comes in an bright orange box. Those also look very interesting. Now, what is interesting about these is that both of these decks take the format of normal playing cards. They have their major arcana. So it is 78 cards for each deck. But when you look at the decks, they are set, as playing cards. You have your ace, you have your king, your queen, your jack. all these types of things. The suit of diamonds, the suit of spades, clubs, things like that. So I am very much a traditionalist in the sense that I want to use something that my ancestors used when this was kind of like coming about. Because so the artwork that is used in the Rider White Tarot isn't really that old. It does date back, but most fortune telling or most card reads, especially by those that were looked at, in communities in, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, were done by gypsies, and they were done with playing cards. Now, the only other deck that I purchased, so I have purchased 3 decks. Okay, so I've purchased the Conjure cards, which again are by Jake Richards. I've purchased the Gypsy Fortune Telling cards, and I have purchased the Goetta, okay, by Fabio Listraini. Okay, this thing is jumping. I don't have that one.
Which one? I wasn't listening. I was typing.
Goetta.
I probably do. Let me check. I keep them organized on a spreadsheet, right?
The Goetta is going to add into my collection with the Occult Tarot, because the Goetta deck actually follows, the Goetta for the demons and things like that, and I just really like the artwork. So those are going to be 3 decks that I'm getting. And so here's the funny thing. So I work in Mexican pesos where I live, because I live in Mexico. So being left-hand path, the funny thing is that the total for all 3 decks came out to 666 Mexican pesos and 66 cents. So, go fucking figure.
Nice. I mean, that's just how it's supposed to be.
I was just shocked. Like, I purchased it, and then when it hit my account, and then my bank account was like, "Hey, you were charged 666 pesos." I was like, "Wait a minute! Wow, all right, that's kind of cool."
Hold up. Here's your sign.
So, but yeah, I just want to kind of mention that really quick. Yeah, so that though I will go over those once I get them if Mystic lets me. If Mystic already has them, we'll have him go over them.
I have 2 of those 3.
You have 2 of the 3 of them? Which one do you not have?
I do not have the Goetta. I do have the Occult, but I don't have the Goetta. I have the Orange Gypsy Witch and the Conjure cards. Actually, Rook got them for me as a gift at some point.
Okay.
I was having a really rough day, and I came home screaming.
Really good, and you should probably get it.
Yeah, I already ordered it.
Fucking Mystic. Every time I show him a deck. So there was a deck. I'm sorry. I know we needed to get into the fucking read of the week. But so I showed him a deck that was made by, what was her name? She was a musician. What was her name?
I don't remember.
She plays violin. Chat, help me out. Goth girl, plays violin. Really good songs. Can't remember her name. For the life of me, I can't remember. But she made a tarot deck. Emily Autumn. Thank you, Jay.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
Yes,
that's a
Emily
good
Autumn.
one. Yeah, the CD comes with it. It's really good. I have a signed copy.
She made her own tarot deck, and I sent it to Mystic. I think that minute that I sent it to him, he ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
And out of spite, I haven't ordered it.
Yep, it is the Asylum Oracle.
The Asylum Oracle. So yeah, out of spite, I haven't ordered it because Mystic just punch every fucking time. So anyway, without further ado, chat, let's get into the tarot reading of the week. Mystic, take it away. I apologize for stealing the spotlight there for a minute.
No, I don't need the spotlight. I shine bright enough on my own. But yes, I will allow you to, certainly on your own show, that you, I know, but that do it.
Thank you.
I would allow it. All right, so I will be honest. I've never read with this deck before, so this is a new deck for me. feels nice in my hands. But I'm going to pull a couple cards. And so what we normally have been doing is we're doing a weekly read. So we're going to kind of talk about what's the energies and the things that are going on right now. And I will tell you already, no air. Like, I don't know if this is a me block or something, because 6 or 7 reads at least, no air. No. Now, I don't know if that means that we've had enough challenges for our entire lifetime that it's given us a break, because generally speaking, swords represent our challenges and they represent the things that we have to make decisions about. And it's kind of like maybe the universe is saying, you already done way too much of this shit. Let's give you a break, because I'm telling you, no air. We're going to pull some extra cards and I want to see if that has anything to do with it. But our first card is the 10 of Pentacles. I've been getting a lot of 10s lately. This is an upright, so it's not reversed. So you can see it. Pentacles, discs, earth, whatever you want to call it. And if you can't really see it because of the focus, but most 10 of Pentacles are going to represent some things in the background. You're going to usually see family. You're going to think completion. So the energy this week is of completing all those extra things that you have around you, but not just things that are like, for us, we painted the house. We're talking about those things. This isn't about like these big ideas and things and, you know, projects. It's literally just get the little things done, get them out of the way, move them on, get them put away. And if you do that, the 10 of Pentacles is going to give you that support, that stability, that comfort, at least for the next week, that things are done, you can breathe, take a rest. This would be things like, if you haven't, you know, balanced your checkbook, which you should do. I don't even know if people use a checkbook anymore, but you need to. If you have a project at your house that you need to do, like, you know, a door lock is broken and you need to replace it, you need to do that. So do all of the little physical things that are around you to keep things stable and safe and together. This is a small deal. The next also kind of goes along the same line. This is the King of Pentacles. Oops. I gotta find a better way for this. I'm telling you, for these
you
cards.
Get a better camera is what you need to do. I love you too.
King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles, we are now moving into the court. And when I say court cards, for me, it usually means a person. It can mean you if you're listening. It can mean somebody in your life, but generally a male. The King of Pentacles is somebody that's going to come in and help you do something. The thing is, this is about organizing and putting things together and making things actually happen. So if you're having difficulty, I love that mug. If you are having difficulty, you know, trying to get to that place where things are done, and this, I don't know why, but because the last card, which I haven't shared yet, but I get the feeling that this reading is more about somebody specifically, and not necessarily just energy. Granted, it's still good for that, but somebody specifically that is having difficulty making decisions that they need to make, but they're teeny tiny ones and they're starting to all add up, and those teeny tiny decisions are too big. So pick one and make a list of 2 things that you can do and mark them off and feel good about marking them off, and allow people to help you do it. I have a hard time myself of allowing people to help me do certain things, and it comes off in a real negative way sometimes. But you need to allow somebody to come and help you. And third, we have the 9 of Wands. One person in the chat will know why I say wands like that. This is a very busy card. So 9 of Wands, we're getting into the realm of the fire and the creation, right? Because fire, wands, blah, blah, blah. But in the tarot, your 9s are the point where you take a step and look at what you've created, look at what you've been doing, and decide, is this really where it needs to be? Am I almost done? So when you look at this all as a whole, the energy for the next week is a do energy. It is not start a new business. It is not make a big decision that's going to change your life. It's not moving. All of these things need to wait. It is stop. It is get those little things done, make little goals for yourself, get those little things completed, and then stop and look at where you are and say, okay, there's 5,000 things I need to do. I just got 2 of them done. Now I need to see what are the next 2. Don't look at the next 50 or 100 or 1,000. It's the next 2. Keep it limited, because if you don't, the energy will completely spiral out of control. And that's my read for this week.
I maintain my position that so I have been reading tarot since I was 14. I'm 35 now, so that's 21 years that I've been reading tarot. Um, and I'm very particular about the people that read for me, and like whether or not their readings actually kind of like resonate with me. And I can tell you, out of 21 years of reading tarot, of practicing divination, the only two people that can read for me that actually make fucking sense to me, that I can really resonate with, is Mystic and my mother. That is it.
That is a huge compliment. Thank you.
And my mother is a life witch. Like birth to death. My mother, I mean, she's still alive, by the way. But my mother is a lifetime witch. She was brought up on it. To an extent, my grandmother is I guess you could say, shaman in a Mohawk Native American tribe. Like my grandmother is Native American, like Native American, like all's the bones. So I grew up with that as well. And so, the only two people that have been able to read for me that actually resonate with me is Mystic and my mother. No one else has been able to resonate with me in a way that Mystic or my mother does. So there's that for what that means to you guys. One thing I wanted to mention, I did want to kind of come back because you mentioned the Ten of Pentacles, right?
The Ten of Pentacles.
Yeah, and I've done a recent Bianco Nero deck, black and white in Italian. And the Ten of Pentacles, so for those that don't know, I'm an interpretive reader, right? I read interpretively. Wow, fucking Ten of Pentacles right there. Holy shit. And so I'm going to show this to the camera. And for me, I feel like within the Ten of Pentacles, there's a sense of completion within the Ten of Pentacles, but there's also kind of a sense of loss within the Ten of Pentacles. I interpretively reading, like not reading like the meaning itself. And I'm not contradicting what Mystic is saying, but I just wanted to add on to this because, especially with the way that the picture is represented in this deck, is very specific to this deck. And I feel like there is a completion of oneself, but within that completion, I feel like there is an ignoring of things that are also important to you. I'm going to show this. So y'all can see this. Might have to.
Yeah, I can't.
Why are you focusing on my finger? Camera.
It's not even on the screen for me.
Okay, wait. You're right here.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. You see what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So, chat. So, for those that are playing the home game here, let me try this a different way. Come on. There it is. All right. So, if you look at that, what I see in that, so you have a couple off on the balcony. So they find themselves. They find their family within each other. But you also see, in my opinion, a very lonely little boy and a lonely old man. And within the Ten of Pentacles, I do feel that there is a completion of oneself, but I think the completion of yourself requires sacrifice. I think that's what it's stating. I think there's a sacrifice that needs to be made in order for you to kind of reach that pinnacle of being able to, fully be oneself. There's something that you need to sacrifice. There's something that you need to let go of, and it's something that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. So it could be either, the future of yourself or an ancestor of yourself. I don't know, Mystic. I mean, you tell me what you think.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, and I can see that in an intuitive reading for a person. But for a general read and kind of an energy read, I don't know that I would see that because I would rely more on maybe the 5 and the 7 to tell me what those sacrifices are.
Okay.
But they're absolutely, because in any culmination of anything, it's not like, and this is, I think, in support of what you're saying. I mean, obviously, intuitive reading is very personal to most people, like to who you're reading and connecting with. But even in tarot, it's not the one and then the two and then the three and then the four all the way up
Right.
to 10. It's the one and then the 1 2 and then the 1 2 3 and then, so each one card includes everything that came before it to get to where it is. So when you get to 10, completion, the end, or the world, which is the 21st and 22nd card, but number 21 in the major arcana, it doesn't mean just because you pulled that card that's the only thing that's involved. And this would be more for, I guess, new readers probably. It's everything. It holds everything before it in that moment, from that suit or from that arcana, right? So any 10, like the 10 of cups, it literally, like most traditional translations of a 10 of cups, is happy family. And I always try not to be an asshole and read that in a Chinese accent, um because we have a place here. But
Right. Right. Right.
it
Right.
like, there, everybody, it's like, oh, everything's gonna be good, it's gonna work out, it's happy family. Like,
Keep it going.
yeah,
I'll be right back. I need to
yeah,
use the restroom, but I can hear. I can still hear you. So keep it going.
good stuff. So yeah, it's truly, it really is all about happy family. But in tarot, or in which is different than oracle, by the way, but in tarot, it's the journey. When you break down the tarot and look at each piece independently, you have your major and minor arcana, right? Whether you're intuitive reading or not intuitive reading, the idea still is behind it, whether you actually read that for the person or feel that, as part of the intention when you're doing it. But that zero, that full card, if there's I don't want to say plenty of research, because this isn't like a peer-reviewed topic or anything. But there are people that I know of, and I think there is evidence to support this, that the um, major arcana starts at the world and goes back to the full. So when you look at it that way, yes, it's linear. Yes, there's a process, but each card builds upon the other. So in order for you to get to happy family, if I pull the 10 of cups for you, or the 10 of pentacles, let's use that one since that's the one that we were talking about. If I pull the 10 of pentacles, and in my read, I am mixing traditional and intuitive reading in my head, and I say, okay, the 10 of pentacles, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F. That means that's the energy that's on hand right now, but it absolutely 100% required steps 1 through 9 in order to get to that energy where that read is at the moment. And I think that's true in most tarot decks when you kind of are reading them for an individual person. It's one of the reasons why I also really enjoy oracle decks, and we've gone over a couple of oracle decks on here too, because oracle decks have this independence about them that it's like almost like the card is much stronger, right? It's that energy that surrounds a 3-card draw with an oracle is going to be much more direct than the tarot is going to be for most people, because the tarot is talking about your systems and your processes and your things that are happening and your feelings and your creativities and the energy that's around you and whatever the read is. But an oracle deck, it is saying, thinking of what's an example of a card? Take a long walk off a short pier is an oracle's version of, you really need to stop and take a look at what you're doing because you're about ready to jump into dirty water. It's just a different it's a
Well, I think I
different
think I think Oracle. I think with Oracle. So one of the things that, I mean, me personally, like, so I have recently come to terms with the fact that, like, I've been trying to find a tarot deck that resonates with me forever. And when I pull, like, if I use the Fairy Oracle, I'm good to go. If I use the Dark Mirror Oracle, I'm good to go. The moment that I get my hands on a tarot deck, I'm lost in the fog.
because there's an
Um,
expectation that you have to do it the way everybody else does it. That's what
mhm,
bothers me. Like,
exactly,
no, I
exactly.
don't give a
Well,
shit
I
what you
I
think
have
the
been
10
given
means. It means
shit.
what it means to me.
I have been given shit so much for reading a tarot deck and reading it how I see it. And then people, well, that's not what that card means. I was like, motherfucker, for this goddamn reading in this goddamn moment, that's what the fuck it means. Okay?
Get out of my face. Yeah, no,
and
100%.
and it's irritating. It's fucking irritating that I am unable to read a deck how I feel that I should be able to read it because somebody is so goddamn stuck on the meaning that they read in a fucking book. And if that's how you read, that's fine, but don't relegate, my divination to what you believe is your idea of what is correct.
Yeah.
And it's just really fucking irritating, which is why I kind of completely avoid tarot in general. Exactly what Mystic is saying, because at least with Oracle, nobody's sitting there telling me, well, that's not what that means, because most people don't fucking know because they don't have the same deck.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't want to. I'm not going to drop a name or anything but there is this guy on Twitch, and he does basically tarot oracle off of a deck that he's made himself multiple, and like he is so on point with me, like crazy on point. Malice, you don't really do reads for me. I haven't done many lately, so I can't say much anymore.
Yeah,
It's
no,
been a
no,
while. You need to do
no,
one.
it's
I
fine.
need one.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But he's really just like, and he just reads what he sees, and I'm like, they're always on point. And the same thing needs to be true for the tarot. Yes, you can know traditional meanings. And it's one of the reasons when I do tarot on my channel, I'm very specific about the traditional meaning is X, Y, and Z, but I'm not feeling that this time because to me, it is important that people recognize you can probably tell if everybody in here goes back and reads every tarot that I've done on Twitch or on YouTube, you can tell which ones I did not properly meditate and connect with because I'm trying to move too fast. It's not about the cards. There's nothing to me. It has nothing to do with the cards. The cards are just the only thing that my brain can understand to formulate what I need to say during a reading. You should be able to read a crystal ball or a blank piece of paper or a black desk, but my brain and most people's brains don't work that way. So we need the image to kind of give us that push to what's next or what's here or what's coming in and all that stuff. And I think when people get bogged down with reading the book, yeah, it's great to know, sure, what the traditional meanings are, but you're going to probably hobble yourself from getting a true read. That's going to be that 1% that just messes it up a little bit. And again, I mess them up all the time when I don't properly do my practices. I always do before a read. Sometimes we've started to stream early, and those are the reads where everybody's like, yeah, what the fuck is he talking about? Where I haven't done my process. And I think that to me, that you can read the back of the cards for all I care at this point. If you're doing the prep and trying to figure things out. But again, like you said, nothing wrong with it. If you read traditionally, it's got a long lineage of people reading traditionally. It's a great way to read tarot, but you can't judge somebody else for doing it differently because you're literally just doing what everybody else is doing to you and you're complaining about at the same time. Which can get us into our topic of conversation, I think.
Yeah, getting into EA. So I really, so guys, we're going to be talking about EA Koetting here for a little bit. And actually, so I'm actually going to be reading some of EA stuff right out, right out the bat, right? So there is a section in one of his books. So somebody sent me a PDF in which his ideas on blood sacrifice are in this book directly. Yeah. So chat, I'm gonna do my best to pay attention to what you guys are saying, but I'm gonna pretty much kind of like read this, as is. So here's my thing. Okay, so a lot of people are coming in. Okay, let me read some of these comments really quick before I get into this. Yeah, let's read. So off of our last video, I'm not going to mention names. You guys can go into the video and check the comment section if you're interested in who's saying what. Okay, but we have people in here saying so. For example, first and foremost, I think the funniest comment that we got was, "Fruit is the worst kind of banana." That was the funniest comment we got.
I mean, it's pretty poignant. We should dive into the deepness that is the banana hate. I, for one,
Right?
love bananas.
Same here. So, like, I was kind of sitting
I
there. I
was
was like,
going a
wait a minute.
different way
Like,
with that, but okay.
yeah, I know you were. I was avoiding it, but So, okay, so I think the most judgmental comment thus far was, Koetting's a total loser. I don't know how anyone took him seriously. LOL. I do, however, agree with him being deplatformed. Anyone who advocates human sacrifice is a problem. he took his edgy occult guru act too far. Um, before we get into my my combative nature and we talk about why I disagree with this statement, we're gonna go over a few other statements that kind of fall in line with that. Another one: as a teacher, EA Koetting should be held responsible. There's a saying: there's no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. I think a lot of spiritual teachers these days should be held responsible because they are misleading people, etc. Okay, if you haven't figured it out yet, I completely disagree with these statements, and I
Put
will
a big
soon,
comment on that one, I think.
yeah, and I will tell you why momentarily. You did put a big comment on that, which you are more than welcome to read when the time comes. Another one: he should be accountable for influencing a person by demonstrating a murder. And I was a big supporter, even through the even bought the T-shirt. And how that makes you a big supporter, but okay. So showing people how to murder is okay with you? Question mark. He is on video doing that. Wrong. At least I've never seen a video of him advocating for murder. Sorry, I'm just very triggered by this and disappointed by these events because I was really invested in it. So it's upsetting to me. Well, I can understand that.
Very
But
fair.
then this same person goes into, you all just desperate clout chasers. Essentially, okay, I'm reading it like verbatim. You all just desperate clout chasers, essentially trying to ride in on his shadow. Zero respect for that. First and foremost, anybody that watched the video, anybody that knows me, knows that I did not like EA Koetting or his content. Disagree with him being platformed, however. Then the next comment, which is going to kind of encompass kind of a lot of what we're going to be talking about this evening, the fact that you think curses is okay is a red flag. Why can't you do magic that helps other, not destroy strangers' lives that you don't know for money? So, I'm going to start with this one. Okay? And my responses to this. Okay? This comment shows how little you know about me and how little you pay attention. I've said multiple times in this video, I do not curse. In chat, I do not curse. I do not practice the act of cursing. And even less for money. Any magical service I may offer, I offer free of charge 100%. And ask anyone in this community and they will back that. Honestly, this just shows how much of a worthless troll you are. Yes, I'm very aggressive in my comments. Sue me. Not to mention the true measure of your absolute ignorance. You've done nothing here other than show everyone how much of a fool you are. The response to which was, okay, but you still support cursing or curses. So that's hypocrite. I got your stance the first time. And anyone that labels critical thinking as trolling has no depth of character. It shows how you cannot take criticism well. This is my long drawn comment. Here we go. Are you ready? No, nor have I said I support it. Not being in direct opposition to something doesn't make me in support of it either. I'm merely very aware that I am no better or worse than anyone else, unlike yourself. I do not condemn people for choices they find necessary to make. I don't ride a high horse, as there is nothing I have done that deems me worthy of a high horse. And people like you are a plague. You're not passing constructive criticism. You are trying to put yourself on a moral high ground that doesn't exist. You talk about character, but you know nothing about me. You know nothing of the things I've been through, nor I you. The difference here is I'm not assuming or acting as if I'm better than you. You, however, are. You see, you can try this dance with me all you'd like, but I am not. Okay, I fucked up on my grammar here. Apologize. Okay, but I may not know you, but I know many people like you. You are a true hypocrite. You talk about helping people in goodness, but you're the first person to throw a stone at anyone you disagree with or disagrees with you. You feel threatened by confrontation and therefore try to stay out in front of it by trying to attack the character of people you know nothing about, as if you can just prove a person morally below you, you don't have to justify anything else. I find you pathetic and sad. I find you weak in both mind and spirit. I wish you well, but you are nothing. You are a scared child under all the bravado. You're a waste of time and energy. Good day for you. That was my response. That was my response to this person, to which I did not receive a response. Okay. Um so there's a lot of content or a lot of comments happening in here about how people believe that Koetting is responsible for this person committing these crimes. Now, I wanted to set this as context. I'm going to read what Koetting wrote, his own words. It was sent to me by someone as proof that he is someone that believes in human sacrifice. Now, there's something very important. I want you to pay attention to the end of this passage. Okay? So, blood sacrifice. This is from a book of his called Works of Darkness, A Guidance to Advanced Black Magic. Black magic is a term that I do not agree with. Black magic, for those of you that don't know, if you use black magic, please stop. Black magic is a term that is racist in nature. Okay? Black magic was a term that was used by slave owners to describe the indigenous religious practices of slaves in the United States. They called it black magic, and then it was indicative of evil or malintent magical practices. Please stop using black magic. Black magic is a perpetuation of racist terminology and should not be continued to be used. Okay? Please find another term that fits what it is that you're trying to describe. Do not use black magic. I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but I would be appreciative if you took that into account and moved beyond that term. Now, that being said, blood sacrifice. Far from the images of black hooded Satanists restraining a captured virgin to a marble slab, blood sacrifice has played a role in the spirituality of man that has become near inseparable from spirituality itself. Separate from the spilling of precious blood that comes with the slaughter of any animal, the ritual of blood sacrifice itself releases into the immediate atmosphere a force that is beyond containment. The force, once unbound to work upon this world and to alter total reality in accordance with the will of the black magician, again, a term that I do not agree with, but let's continue, or a group of sorcerers or sorceresses cannot be recalled or rebuked. It is a power that once set in motion reveals the hands of those who called it and brings to pass its purpose to the end. The blackest magic, again, a term that I do not agree with, ever practiced on this earth is ritual sacrifice of another human being. Although the lesser sacrifices of animals, such as those listed above, may be offered to the powers of darkness, while war, starvation, murder, and other forms of untimely death may be and often are by traditional satanic extremists, pay attention to the wording, traditional satanic extremists, seen as a form of human sacrifice, culling the drows from the human race to give rise to the strong. These coincidental bloodlettings are not one and the same with the bloody sacrifice which takes place within the temple amidst the powers of darkness. Blood sacrifice is said to be an art and a work which should only be practiced by the most
Check it
adept,
out.
a tool designed only by the masters. Any other word, any other would perish at the presence, brought down by the very powers that they themselves have summoned upon by the very acts that they themselves have committed. The only purpose for this enactment, so say the masters that have wielded this burning sword, is in the achievement of an Enoic goal, a goal whose end is not the bettering of the life of the sorcerer or the worsening of that he. Other page, zooming in. Yes, I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing. Hates, but for the alteration of the world as a whole, the downfall of nations and the rise of rebellions, for the obliteration of empires and even the blackening of suns. Bloody sacrifice in the power that it holds is capable of laying flat that world and civilization that we know, and bringing to the earth and to his race a new age of growth and illumination. It can be fairly argued that the apocalypse and its preceding Armageddon can be leveled to the vantage of personal experience. All that is dying in the man is destroyed, and all that is eternal is exalted. His world is demolished through the powers that he releases in the blood sacrifices, and a new world is put in its place, a world wherein he is God. Though the sacrifice of an animal, he is strengthening and imbuing his own being with the virtues of that animal, while in the same instance he is stabbing and slashing at the weaknesses within himself that the animal signifies. Through the murder of another human within his temple and before the powers of the lords of darkness, preferably of a victim of the sorcerer, sees as powerful, intelligent, fit, and worthy he is, the black magician is killing himself, so that he might be reborn or resurrected in the days of silence which follow. In the performance of ritual sacrifice, however, the psychological justifications and explanations flow way like life from veins, and the black magician is left kneeling with blood on his hands, chest, face, and soul. He once thought he understood, but until the ritual dagger which had hereunto seemed to inert plunged into the victim's heart like a key with which a doorway of absolute darkness was unlocked and flung open. Traditionally, the throat of the victim is to be slit from the victim's right to the left, and in the same motion, the dagger is to be plunged into the hilt in his heart. This type of bloody human sacrifice can be made in other ways. However, such is immolation, hanging, asphyxiation, or other method, or any other method of ending the life of the victim, so long as the killing begins and ends within the temple, whose walls contain the spiritual explosion long enough for the black magician to direct it towards his goal. The temple should be arranged before the sacrifice is brought therein. The altar is to be taken out of the temple altogether. 4 candles should burn at the 4 magnetic points. The north and the south points should hold black candles. The east and the west holding violet. Chat, by the way, me reading this is not a justification or saying that this is something that you should do. Just listen.
I'm
and
so
I'll get
glad
to
you
my
clarified that.
Yeah, like I just want you guys to understand. I'm not reading this as like, hey, go ahead and do. No, no, no. But wait until the end. There's a point. The 4 candles should form a circle and should become lighthouses at the 4 points of the circle, which will be drawn at the opening of the ritual. On the north wall of the temple, you are to hang the image of the inverted pentagram, which is the means by which the operation is to be operated and is the power through which the whole work is accomplished. Upon this wall of the temple, the image of the double-armed cross is to be hung, which is the purpose And the final result of the working, the ritual dagger should be sharpened and placed near the candle in the west on the inside of the circle. The chalice sits by the candle in the east, filled with wine, blood, water, mead, absinthe, or some other appropriate drink. It may be preferable to construct a restraining board or some other devices in which the victim can be bound to the floor. The goal of the operation should be meditated upon in length preceding the ritual and should be at the forefront of the minds of the participants throughout. The ritualists are to open the rite by opening their vision as to see, hear, and partake of which the occurrence undetected above and below them, around and within them. The victim is to be anointed with the consecrated liquid and fills the chalice, being thus consecrated to the work at hand and to the achievement of the goal. All invocations, incantations, and ritual operations having been performed when the victim's throat is slit and the dagger is plunged into their heart, absolute silence is necessary in order to reap the dark whirlwind that will ensue. Silence in speech, movement, and thought brings understanding of the inconceivable. Contemplation upon the ritual act itself and towards the goal gives purpose to the chaotic. The presiding official, often called the high priest in neo-pagan circles, is to allow the silence and the observation of forces with which enter the room until they have reached a summit. The powers of death rising from the corpse with its final rays of heat, at which point he will give an exhortation declaring the purpose of the ritual, and the whole of the group will command through will and through word the destiny of the aeon. Here's the point. Such rites do not take place. Not in this time. Not by any serious black magician. Those who have never known anyone that practices blood sacrifices as a tool to power and have themselves never practice such will state firmly that it does not exist whatsoever. Those that do practice blood sacrifice will surely say the same. So, what's the point of this? What I'm seeing is someone that is outlining a out-of-date ritualistic practice in a book. That for those that are interested in how these things may have been done, this is how they were done. I do not see a direct call to action saying this is something that you should do. This is something that is okay to do. I do not see something that is saying that this is something that I do, like in terms of EA Koetting. This is merely an outlining of saying that this is something that is out of practice and has been done. And we know that it has been done. We go back to the ancient Aztecs, the Mayans. Human sacrifice to the sun god was a regular yearly ritual. They were thrown into the fires of a volcano as a sacrifice to the sun god to guarantee the success of crops and life within the tribe. People gave themselves willingly as sacrifices to the sun god. Exactly, we don't. But to outline how that ritual was performed is not to advocate you throwing somebody into a fucking volcano. This is the point that I'm trying to make. Are there sick people that are going to read that and be like, oh, well, he's giving me the outline to do these things? So let us take part. Yes, of course there's going to be a few fucking idiots that are going to fucking partake in that. But those fucking idiots are not his responsibility. It is not a call to action. There is a reason why being in a crowded theater and screaming fire is a crime. He did not scream fire in a crowded theater. He merely outlined the details of an outdated ritualistic practice that is no longer taken part in. So, everyone out there that is so goddamn butthurt about him talking about it, get the fuck over yourself. I don't even like the fucking guy. I don't like his content. I don't like his fucking videos. But me reading that, for as gruesome and as graphic as that may have been, I can give you 3 Stephen King albums that are books that are 100 times fucking worse. And nobody's suing Stephen King for people that were inspired by The Shining.
Can you say investigation discovery? Everybody together now. Investigation discovery. ID. Anybody watched ID channel? Like,
Yes.
it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. Now, yeah. So
go ahead.
The,
give your part. I want to hear what you have to say.
So, and it's in a couple of my comments. I'm not going to read the comments because anybody can read them. But the thing is that I feel like people are having difficulty with is understanding the responsibility, and what responsibility or taking. What does it mean to take responsibility for your actions in your platform? I do believe when you have a large following, you have to be careful and responsible for your platform. The thing, and people are using that as you can't hold him responsible for no. Completely agree. And I think we talked about this before. A little bit of a different take, though. Completely agree. There's no way in any earth, world thing that I can see where somebody would be able to hold him responsible for that. And I don't think that that's going to happen either, ultimately, as far as like legal and blah, 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 blah. The thing is, he does bear responsibility to be a steward of the people who follow him. But that does not mean that he is responsible for their actions. And I think, I don't know if it's just because of the term responsibility that people are, because, and I got that, I was reading some, a bunch of comments on other YouTube pages and other people that have talked about it because they did, Google, or not Google search, or YouTube search. And, everybody's talking about responsibility, and they're like, yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. I do not feel it is ever appropriate in most cases that I can come up with my brain to say that I am responsible for what you do on how you interpret what I say. Because if that were the case, we are all screwed. Seriously screwed, because it just doesn't work that way. Because the way things are now, there is so much available. I can go and find anything to support my poor decisions at this point, if I want to. I could use EA Koetting to support my poor decision to do only things that make me happy and never have to work again. But, my responsibility to that is going to be I might be homeless because I'm not working.
There are actual court cases on that note. There are actual court cases in the United States within the Supreme Court where people have actually brought the devil as an excuse for the reason why they've done something. I am sorry, but if you commit a heinous act, then you are a heinous person. Do not pass blame onto somebody else, okay? Because let me tell you something. So this is anecdotal at best, but I was very bullied as a child. Okay, I was very bullied. Okay, going through high school, things like that. I was made fun of horrendously due to my decision to dress the way that I dress. I consider myself goth. I have considered myself goth since middle school. And I'm also very well versed in how to fire a weapon. I grew up in a family that hunts. I had very easy access to rifles and handguns and things of the nature. Not once, not a single time, not ever in my life have I ever sat and thought that maybe it would have been a good idea to go shoot somebody. Never.
I
Never.
I would push back on that only because I don't think that people that do heinous things necessarily means that they're a heinous person, but in most cases, like 99.9999997, yes. Because
Well, I
there's
mean,
an there
there's always
yeah,
exceptions. There's always
yeah.
exceptions, but
And
let's focus on the general rule, not the exception, so we don't
well,
confuse people.
yeah, I think that what the important thing is though, people will always do heinous things. That's always been, is, and always will be. And you can have excuses and reasons for that, but it doesn't absolve you of the responsibility of making that action, because there's no way to balance that and have a society that works, right? When you have a small tribe, because human beings were not designed to be in groups this big, like 87,000 followers of one person. We were designed to be in groups of 15, 20 at the most. That's a tribe, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the things, and I have a theory on that if anybody ever wants to hear about covens. I think 13 is a social construct, not a coven issue. But anyway, um, so the idea though is that now we do have that capability. We have the capability of this wide swath of people that we can have an impact on. We do have to try to be good stewards of it. My point is, I think he's been and is being a good steward of it to a degree. I have my own personal feelings about it, but those are my personal feelings. The problem is none of us are not going to touch somebody with our comments or our emotions that isn't potentially mentally unstable. I would use and cite multiple examples in your comments. But I won't, because that's going to be targeting somebody specific, meaning I can read into some of the comments. People are having a mental breakdown at that time, or they're not understanding what they're saying, or they're not getting across their meaning the way that they mean it, or they're not communicating in the way they think they're communicating, and they're not communicating what they think they're communicating. And that is part of the issue. When you really go out and look at all of the different pieces and things that was on EA Koetting's YouTube. I'm not an expert. I've watched 10, 12 things. Don't like it. Moved on. Not everybody's capable of that. Some people latch on to it because they have nowhere to be. They have nothing to do. That is not his fault. It can't be. It's not our fault. It's not anybody's fault. So the idea of holding somebody responsible for an action that they didn't commit is just, it is such a slippery slope. And I think the thing is, if he would have said, and forgive me, I hope we don't get canceled for this, but if he would have said, I hope that one of my followers who is in Britain will go out and heed my warning to sacrifice somebody, yeah, we can hold him accountable for that one.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You know,
That
he
is
didn't do that.
100%
At least
accountability.
from
Yes.
what I'm seeing, he didn't do that. He could have. And if somebody, which goes with another one of your comments that kind of pissed me off, when people are going to argue their comment, you know, it's not the burden on the initial person to supply you with the supporting documentation. If you want to argue a comment, or if you're going to argue something and you want to support it, you supply your argument.
Exactly.
But that's neither here nor there. Like for me, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, and move
in
on.
my opinion, the burden of proof falls upon the accuser, not the accused.
Yeah, exactly. And
and
if you
that's
don't
how
want to
it
do it,
should
it's
be.
fine. But admit it. Just say, hey, no, you know what? I'm too lazy to do that, because I do it all the time. I'll argue my point and be like, yeah, show me proof. I'm like, no, I'm too lazy for that. But you have a good day. You know, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But don't continue on this
Look,
whole
and again,
thing.
I want to reiterate here, okay? I was not a fan of EA Koetting. Like, did I sit there and did I watch a few of his lives to kind of get a vibe of like who he was as a person, you know, and like what he was practicing? Yeah,
Dude
you
is a
know,
total entertainer.
I watched it, but the thing is that I didn't take his shit seriously. Like it felt like entertainment. Like,
But
you
even
know,
if
I
you
mean,
did and not to cut you off, but even if you did in your right and sound mind, you still wouldn't have made an action because he didn't call for it, right?
Exactly,
And I think that's
exactly.
the
And even,
point.
even if he did call for it, I wouldn't do it. That still
But
falls on the responsibility of the person. But
uh-huh.
still, even if he did call for action, when he called for if he called for action, like somebody to do something like that, I would still hold him responsible because he was asking somebody to do it, and that makes him as a leader somebody that is going to kind of cause something to happen. But to just sit there and talk about it and
Yeah.
discuss it and say, okay, this is an out of practice ritual, ritual. This is an out of date ritualistic practice that people have taken part in.
And
What the fuck is
the,
wrong with you if you're going to hold him responsible for that? I mean, for
that
God's
is
sake.
that is where my comment was coming from about the defining responsibility, because I think he does bear responsibility in some things that he does as a potential leader of
Oh, I
people, but
agree.
it has
I
nothing to
agree.
do with this. And I think people are using
Exactly.
it's not a scapegoat, it's not a red herring, a straw man maybe. There's a fallacy for it. That they're using that word responsibility for it and they're not using it properly. And yes, you know what? I do not agree with the deplatforming. I do not think it was a good idea, but I also think that a private company has the ability to do it if they so choose, in the same way that he's not responsible for the actions of that murder. YouTube is not responsible for deplatforming somebody. It's their company.
I yeah, I agree. I
It's
agree that
stupid.
I do. It is stupid, but I
It's
mean,
a
I think it's
censorship that shouldn't be allowed, but it
I
is.
think I think it's also our place to kind of talk about that, right? To bring that,
100%.
to bring that up to, to in front of people. Um, Alena, or Lady Warrior, if I'm not pronouncing Alena correctly, asks Malice, have you had any mentions from LFM lately? No. I
You didn't
have
get the
kind of.
memo. We call her MFL now. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I did kind of swing by her channel a couple of times to see what bullshit she's spewing now, and obviously, honestly, at this particular junction, after everything that happened in her calling me out directly, um, I'm just exhausted. She exhausts me. She tires me. I feel that my attention being spent on trying to call out somebody that is going to double down on their bullshit and make themselves sound like a fucking idiot. Um, I just, yeah, I'm just not interested. Honestly, she's a waste of my fucking time, a
The
waste of
thing
my breath, a waste of my energy, and I honestly, if I ever have to fucking react to her again, it'll be far too soon.
I really wish that, when it's easy to get into your own mind or to get into a perception of hubris. Trust me, that's been a big part of my lesson in the past 5 years. Um, is stepping back and saying, you know what, maybe as much as I throw this around a lot. I've practiced for about 30 years, 25 to 30 years. That does not make me any better at doing this than anybody else. Magic and craft and all that stuff. It does give me some experience on the things that I've done. Um, but when I listen, and I'm not gonna make it about her, when I listen to people who have this double down attitude in this way about them, it's like you hear such great things in the background. You can hear like great snippets of, oh my God, that's actually a really good point. Oh, I would really love to learn more from you. And then they say that thing or double down on that thing. And it's just like, oh my God, can you stop? Or goddess, can you stop?
Exactly.
Can you
No,
just stop and take a step back and look at what you're
so
doing and learn from it? Like
for
that's the whole
those
goal.
exactly. For those unaware, the initial reaction that I did to LFM was based on the absolute preposterous misinformation that existed in her video about the occult tarot. I was looking for videos in regards to the occult tarot, just to kind of get information on the card stock, things like that, just general kind of things. And when I saw her video entitled Demon Terror, because apparently that's how she pronounces, I don't know anyone in my life that pronounces tarot terror. I don't
I
know how to.
am fine
I
with
don't know.
I'm,
I
if
don't know
it's
how you
tarot,
fuck that up. I don't
tarot,
know how you fuck that up, but
tarot, tarot, even. I'm good with all of those because it has a T in it. It ends
Yeah,
in
but
T.
still,
Say terrorist.
but
I'm okay
terror,
with that. But terror? And it's
you
so
know,
terrible to joke on somebody for that, but it's a choice she's actively making. And that's what pisses me off about that kind of stuff. You're actively doing that to get a rise or a response out of it. And it's just like, oh, come
yeah.
on. And you
Well, so
did it for
here's
that video. You look at the old videos. Does she call it that? No.
exactly. So, so the thing is so with Baphomet. So I've been working with Baphomet well over a decade. Baphomet is not the devil. Baphomet is not a devil. Baphomet is a very old god that has existed throughout time. That Baphomet is a incarnation of this old god. Um, Baphomet is a representation of balance in your life. That is what Baphomet is. Baphomet, Baphomet, however you choose to pronounce the name, I go with Baphomet. That's just me. You do you, boo. It's okay. Um, so Baphomet is a neo representation of an old god that represents balance in all things of existence. Male, female, you know, violence and calm and light and dark, all of these things simultaneously at the same time. Baphomet, I'm going to reiterate this point. Baphomet is not devil, is not Satan. Baphomet is not a representation of Satan. The current sigil that we use for Baphomet is a sigil that was created in around 1966 by Anton LaVey, specifically for use with LaVeyan Satanism, the Church of Satan. Baphomet is not the devil. Baphomet is far more powerful of a deity to work with than you think. And many people underestimate the power that Baphomet holds. Not only as a deity, but as a symbol. Okay? So, yeah. In my book, all of it will be outlined, explained, and talked about. The partial sigil that I have, the partial actual sigil for Baphomet, his actual sigil will be in the book. It is a partial sigil. I have not gotten the whole yet. If I get the whole sigil for the release of the book, it will be in there. If I don't get the full sigil, the part of the sigil that I have will be in there. Okay? So, Baphomet, if you go through the history of Baphomet, was a linguistic misunderstanding of the word Muhammad, which was understood by the Knights Templar when in war with Arabia. But the image and identity of Baphomet is significantly older than both. That much I will tell you. The rest of that will be outlined in the book that I will be releasing next year. 2022, the Book of Baphomet by myself, by MisterMalice, will be released. I will sell it as cheaply as humanly possible so everyone can have access to it. I would love to be able to give it away for free, but if I'm expecting for actually physical copies of it, it needs to be sold. And most of that money is going to be going to the publishing company, not me. Okay? So it's just a fact of fucking life, guys. I can't print shit for free. I can't. Okay? Can't do it. So, but it will be being released next year. I will have it released next year. Okay? So, there's that. Now, going back to the EA Koetting thing, I think that the whole situation has been blown out of proportion. Again, I keep reiterating the point. I was not a fan of his content. Okay? Compensation is not what I'm looking for, Jay. Like, I mean, a little bit of something to kind of keep the fucking wheels turning is cool, but you know, Tenet, you got something to say, jump in the chat, man. I'm not afraid. Go for it. You want to call me out in my chat? Feel free, man. You want to come into the conversation? I have absolutely no problem. Now, here's the question.
I'm going to exercise terrible interruption. I have to. I'll be right back in 5 seconds.
Uh-huh. Now, here's the question. Do you have the balls to come in and talk to me? You want to come out and you want to say that I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't talk English. It sounds like you're talking it pretty well in my chat. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not that kind of person. So, but you want to call me out in my own chat, I'm going to call you out right back. So you want to jump in? Jump in. I'm more than willing to have a conversation with you. All right. The invitation is extended and the invitation maintains. If you ever want to come in, feel free to talk to me. Awesome. You're more than welcome to be here. I'm happy to have you. But please don't come in and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I've done the research. I appreciate your point of view. If you have something to contribute, please, by all means, contribute. I will take in anything and everything that you have to say. So, and that goes to anybody in the chat. If anyone ever feels that like they disagree with me and they want to have a conversation with me, they want to talk about it, and they want their part heard, I'm open to changing my mind. A debate or a conversation is not about me proving that I am right. A debate and a conversation is about me listening to what it is that you have to say and taking that into myself. It does not guarantee that I'm going to change my mind. Not at all. But it is a guarantee that I will definitely take into consideration the things that you're saying. Most definitely, unequivocally. And that invitation is extended to everyone. I mean, there's one way to look at it, Tenet. That's one way to look at it. But I think all of us kind of look at our spirituality individualistically and work with what works for us as individuals. Okay? And for me, working directly with Baphomet, there's two deities that I work with very closely. I work with Baphomet and I work with Hel. So, philosophically, I consider myself, I am a philosophical Satanist. I look at LaVeyan Satanism as a form of philosophy, not necessarily theistically. Nothing against those that look at Satanism as a theistic religion, like something to follow religiously speaking. But I personally follow it philosophically. I think that Anton LaVey was a very bright and intelligent philosopher for his time, and I think that the points that he makes in the Satanic Bible are very relevant to modern-day society. However, spiritually speaking, I'm Norse pagan. All in all, everything combined, I am left-hand path. Which I think is a good segue into the next part, which is talking about the left-hand path. There have been recent comments made through news organizations about the left-hand path that I think that need to be addressed in greater detail. And these comments directly connect the left-hand path with far-right extremism, Nazism, and Satanism that partakes in human sacrifice and violence, which is completely, utterly, and unequivocally untrue. The left-hand path has nothing to do with any of that. To sit there and claim that left-hand path Satanism is this extreme, far-right neo-Nazi form of religious dark belief is irresponsible. It is a lie. And quite honestly, has me very fucking pissed off.
Rightfully.
Because I directly and openly consider myself left-hand path. Very openly consider myself left-hand path. Satanism is a form of left-hand path belief. But the left-hand path, in and of itself, is not Satanism. First and foremost. Second of all, left-hand path Satanism, for those of you who can't see, I'm throwing air quotes on this if you're listening to the pre-recorded, does not partake in human sacrifice. These are all buzzwords that were thrown together to grab the attention of the public, to instill fear and increase ratings. And if you do not understand that, if you do not understand that the media is lying to you yet again and trying to instill fear in you with a new buzz term, the left-hand path, the left-hand path, left-hand path Satanism, extreme violence, right wing. Please reevaluate how it is that you see the world around you. And this is now the size
Depressing.
of disgust that are coming from Mystic, are coming from someone that's not even left-hand path.
No, I'm not. Not that I wouldn't. It's infuriating. Two things are infuriating about it. Number one, that it's being said. Number two, people don't recognize that when they say it, it's all of us. I was looking up that, and I mentioned it, I think last week when we did the bonus, about the poem, and I don't want to use it because it's not appropriate because of what it's originally intended for. But in the end, we don't speak up for each other enough, and the things that we believe. I don't have to believe the same thing as somebody to recognize that their belief is valid. Plus, I don't need to even. It's not. It shouldn't even need to be said, and that it's just frustrating. It is very frustrating to hear because it's always something. It's always going to be something, It's just always going to be something. It's like, what's the point of people coming after people? Like, I don't understand. And to come at somebody when you have zero knowledge, or even worse, you have the knowledge and you don't use it because it's not going to get you the rating that you wanted. And to come at it's going to be, I'm telling you right now, if somebody has a baby and the baby's green, and then all of a sudden we have a lot of green kids running around, it's going to be the green kids next. It's just, they're going to find something, and then it's almost like we're relearning every cycle that thou shalt not judge, don't judge others, listen, open, okay, I'm with you, all right, gay people are okay, Satanists suck, Satanists are okay, LHP sucks, LHP's okay, green people suck. It's always something. People, I don't understand what the desire is to constantly have to have somebody to bully on. And that's what it is. I mean, that's what racism is. That's what all of it is a form of bullying, And it's just like, did you not, like, it's so simple. Experience what you experience, work within your circles, learn more, be open, don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be fine. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot to it. It's not like the secret to living a long and a great life is not wrapped up in some, well of youthfulness in the middle of the Tibetan. Well, maybe it is actually. I don't know. The secret to life is simple. It's don't be a dick. And when you are, because we all do, I mean, even me, I can be an asshole sometimes. I think everybody can, because humans are completely screwed up creatures. But hey, I was a dick. I need to do better.
Exactly.
Move on. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not hard. I don't know. It's
Well, I
so
mean, apparently for
frustrating.
some people,
Oh,
it is, and
dear
especially when
God.
money's at stake. So the thing is like, attacking, any type of Satanism is a cash grab, right?
Yeah.
Because it gets you the ratings. Is oh,
Oh yeah.
spooky shit, right? It's the reason why the Bible is still fucking so popular, right? Because spooky language, right? So here's the thing, left-hand path. Let's talk about it. Let's break it the fuck down, shall we? Okay. So, within the left-hand path is a very large and general term because there are a lot of things that fall in the left-hand path. Practically any religion, any religious group, any spirituality can in some way, shape, or form at some point fall into the left-hand path. The understanding that I personally take with the left-hand path, choose this definition if you wish, don't choose it if you don't want to. My definition of the left-hand path is sincerely a spiritual perspective that understands that light and dark exist simultaneously and that you need to be able to work with both the shadow and the light in order to fully appreciate either. Okay? That is what the left-hand path is about.
See,
The
I am by
example,
definition then left-hand path, and I don't even
uh,
know it.
so the way that I look at it, the best way that I know how to explain it, let's say you live in a country area, you have a very open, area in the woods. You go through the woods. There's a beautiful flower in the middle of an open field, and you are captivated by the beauty of this flower and the way that the light of the sun reflects off of this flower, and that the flower is so beautiful in the light. You do not fear or hate the night for taking away the light and the reflective nature onto that flower. You understand that the beauty of that flower still eternally exists in the night. You understand that the night brings to you correction, it brings to you rejuvenation, it brings to you healing, it brings to you rest. You do not hate the night for taking away the light in the view of that flower because you know that that flower and that beauty is still there, regardless of whether it is night or day. You understand the balance between the light and the dark, that both are required in existence and both hold their benefits. That is the left-hand path. The left-hand path is the understanding of that balance, that I am not light or dark, but both light and dark. That is the left-hand path. That is what the left-hand path represents. It represents the understanding of that balance in your very existence. That is not only to Satanism, that is not only to any religion, but that exists in all spiritualities. And to say otherwise represents the true understanding of your absolute ignorance of the reality of the world around you. Because the only thing that you're trying to do is to create a new buzzword to instill fear in people that do not understand. I am here to bring understanding. That is my mission in this channel, is to bring understanding and to bring us together. Us as occultists on all levels, regardless of what it is that you believe, need to work together, unified, or we are always going to be the front end of the joke for everyone. Rant is over, by the way.
So What? Oh, you need my cup. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people. We have a small group. We have a group of people. People like to do stuff. The thing that is two pronged to me, and that comes up to my mind when I'm just kind of like reading the chat and talking to people about their different, what they believe in. And, there's terms all over that mean very similar things. For example, gray witches. Most of the time, if you talk to somebody and they consider themselves a gray witch, the gray witch will say, well, I believe in balance. I believe in light and dark. I don't think that you do one or the other. You'll have green witches who, are really high focused on forest. And you'll have all these other people that have these self described things. And it makes it really uh, beneficial to them so that they can have a focus, right? But in the end, I think the majority of magical people or occultists or LHP or Satanists, the majority of them do believe and feel some sort of, balance is necessary. And I think that is so important when we talk about what it is that we're doing, because I can guarantee you um, which end of the spectrum most religious people, and I'm talking about like true organized religion, believe they're on, and it's going to be the light side because the dark is bad. Pretty much everything that's off that kind of fits into the idea that there is a balance, that there does need to be both. For example, I often say I'm not left-hand path. Main reason I say this is because I've never really worked with somebody specifically on things that are left-hand path. And I like to point it out because I think it's important that people that do not follow the same terminology or ideologies or thought processes or even philosophies in some cases are able to show others that we can have that conversation. But when you get down to the balance, I think everybody probably in the chat in some way, shape, or form, maybe not everybody, but the majority, probably really feel that there's a balance required. Now, maybe they're not in that balance right now. They're on the light side or the dark side according to how they perceive it. I don't particularly like those terms either. Um, just because I think it's a separation that, we don't need to make. But point being, there's a lot more to it than just LHP. And I think the more people can understand what left-hand path means to people that do consider themselves left-hand path, the less that they get to this idea that there is this big valley or, mountain between groups of occultist people in general. Because 20 years ago, if you would have explained to me what you just explained, I would have been like, oh, yeah, I'm left-hand path. Let me go down. And that's exactly what I am, because that's exactly how I feel about stuff. And I think a lot of people will feel that way. Um, the thing really comes down to, though, is each individual person has to learn and has to work the way that they feel appropriate. The problem is we don't listen to each other and try to understand what those other pieces are. And fortunately, part of being an occultist, even though we have very current and active examples against this, I'm going to say it anyway, because we are and we think in that manner in general, as opposed to religious groups, a little more open to the idea that there can be multiple ways all at the same time. You know what I mean? And I think if I had to summarize that, I'm kind of blabbing a little bit, like just rambling a little bit. But the thing it comes down to me is it's important to separate and to feel where you feel you are, but it's also important to be able to admit when you don't know something or when you're not involved in something and be open to listening to the ideas of it. I may never call myself left-hand path, but I may believe 99.99% of the same processes and things that are involved in that left-hand path. And we have to be able to gather our own experience and determine it, but you can still be yourself and be your own person and your own beliefs, and you can change those by listening to others and finding things that work for you. But you have to be open to that possibility. And people really close themselves off because I did candle magic one time and it was really bad, and I burned myself and I'm not doing it ever again, or it's stupid. Or Oh my god, I can't believe that somebody believes that candle magic actually works. It's so stupid. It's those things that perpetuate the idea behind us not being able to work together. And the more we do stuff like that, the worse it's going to get because we have enough people already against us and they're organized. We're not, right?
And
We're not
that's the
organized.
biggest thing. That
Yeah,
that's
we're
that right
not
there
together.
is
We fight
that
each
that
other all the time.
that is the biggest thing. It's like if you go into the Christian community, you go into the monotheistic community, whether it's Christian, Islam, Jewish, wherever you want to look at it, generally speaking, on
Assalamu alaikum.
some level, shape, or form, they are united under one idea. And generally speaking, that idea is that they're against us. And unfortunately, we are so childish that we have lost or not even found the idea of you might believe a little bit different than I do, but that's fine. On the fundamental basis, we're the same. And until we can fully understand that idea, that we are fundamentally the same, regardless of what it is that we actually believe, we are going to continue to run into these problems and these issues where we cannibalize ourselves, guys. That's what the fuck we're doing.
Mhm.
We are cannibalistic in nature, and it needs to fucking stop. It needs to stop because this person heard this and this person heard that and this person heard this and this person believes this way and that person believes this way and I want to be the leader and I want to be in control. Well, fuck you and your goddamn control. You don't have control. You don't control anything until you can understand that regardless of the differences between us, we are fundamentally the same, and you can stand together, shoulder to shoulder, with the other occultists in the community and support the occultists in your community, whether local or on the internet. We are going to perish. We are going to be the punchline of many jokes in history to come. I'm not a leader. I'm not here to lead you. I'm just telling you what everyone is thinking and everyone is afraid to say. That's all I'm doing. I'm not here to lead you. But you need to understand that if we don't stand together with each other, we are going to end. It is going to finish, and it's going to be a joke in history. The neo-pagans, the people that tried to bring back the old ways, those stupid fuckers, look at them. Ha 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 ha. That's how they see us now. Even LFM said it directly to my face on a video when she reacted to me. You're a fucking Satanist. How can anyone take you seriously?
Yeah.
So how do you expect anyone to take us seriously if we're constantly fighting with each other? They're not going to.
Nope. And Baphomet did not speak to me. But can I learn something through listening to other people who have? Absolutely. I have had my own experiences and they're great and I want to share them. Not everybody does, but I do. I like to share that stuff. I like to share what we do and our thought processes. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But you know what? You still might learn something. You might be like, okay, yeah, that does not resonate with me. Okay, that doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. And it is so frustrating to see it constantly going over and over and over again. There is such a desire for needing to be in control and having the power over somebody else when you haven't even figured out how to have the power over yourself and how to control yourself. And it drives me bonkers because it's again, it goes back to being very easy. Just listen, talk to people, think about it. I can disagree with you on 1,000 things. Here we are, still learning, right? And I just it's really frustrating when I really want to. I'm gonna have to find that. I know everybody knows this poem too. I'm gonna have to find it and just read it. The reason I haven't read it yet because it's like I said, it's very specific to a situation. I think it's a little rude to kind of take it out of that context, but everybody knows it, and it ends. And I'm gonna just kind of run the phrasing. In the beginning, you came for A. I'm just gonna cut that in. Oh, but it's not me, so I wasn't worried about it. And then you came for B, but it wasn't me, so I wasn't worried about it. But then you came for me, and there was nobody left to speak for me.
Exactly.
And it's a Holocaust. It's a poem. It's really 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 deep, really big thing, but it's applicable to almost everything that we do in life. And it doesn't mean that people who are afraid to speak up have to speak up and put themselves in danger, or people who just that's not their thing. But we all have something that we can offer and that we can do that allows ourselves to become who we need to be, and it doesn't take anybody else to do it.
All right, so we're gonna bring in right now a friend of ours from Canada. I don't think we should hold that against him.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do it. I'm out. Bye.
By the name of Mave. He's in the chat. He's been talking.
Sorry. Bring it back up.
And so we're gonna bring him in. So give us a second, and he's gonna be in the chat with us.
After these messages, we'll be right. I hate how that pops out. My pop out.
Right? It pops out your pop out.
It unpops my pop out.
There you go. Well, you're pop back in. There you go. Hey.
Okay.
Is he in with us yet? There he is. There he is. Babe, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. So how are you enjoying the conversation so far?
I'm enjoying it very much, actually.
So I'm curious. Let's get your 2 cents on what we're talking about. So what's your input? What would you like to add, if anything?
What topic? I have so many thoughts. That's the best problem. Is I have so many thoughts on so many different things that it could be anything.
Okay, let's start.
We go in order.
Okay, go in order. Mystic.
Yeah.
I mean, bring down the row.
The order for me would be if we still want to talk about, which I don't even care if we don't, if we can nix it, but EA Koetting's deplatforming and responsibility, and then like the big topic for me in all of this is not defining left-hand path, but defining like what's the whole purpose of all of this stuff. And then I'll be honest, as an idiot with left-hand, I don't even know what not that it even matters, but I want to learn something new tonight.
Fair enough.
Like,
I'm not left-hand path, although I appreciate so much in it. So I'm learning. I consider myself a novice in everything.
That's a good way to be.
I think so.
I mean, that in and of itself is probably a really good topic to move into.
So
to be honest.
So as far as EA is concerned, I'm learning everything tonight. So I'm being taught. As far as left-hand path, I know what Malice and you have talked about in the past, and I've done my own research as far as left hand versus right hand and what that entails. I know depending on how you want to look at it, left hand is more self versus group in the simplest forms.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you want to say that left hand is selfish or potentially prone to not necessarily, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's open to being I'm trying to think of the right word here.
Most words are going to sound negative no matter how you use them because
yeah. Well, I don't care about the negative connotation. That's the point where I'm getting to. It can be abused as in self-harm potentially or harm of others, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, my quick thought on that is you cannot perform as a group if you can't perform as yourself first. So that to me is why, to me, left-hand path makes a lot of sense. I don't consider myself left-hand path, but to be honest with you, I think pretty much everybody is on it, whether they know it or not. If you're not in an organized religion, that's just my personal feeling.
Fair enough.
You know, it's like if you're Yeah, but again, just kind of a general. But I think that might be a good topic because I will be truly honest. As much as we talk about left-hand path, I still don't know what it is. And I don't know that it needs to be defined either. It's just people need to not be afraid of what it is because they don't know, just like they're afraid of every freaking thing else, which also pisses me off.
As a solo practitioner or a solo path, I walk what I walk, and I incorporate what I do into what makes sense to me. So parts of left hand path I incorporate into myself, and I perform that every day. And I'm assuming that that happens for every single person, which is where the definition of left hand path is going to be totally different between Malice and you and anyone else in the chat, including myself. It's all based on experience.
I could not put it better myself. That is exactly. I should have written that down.
Like as far as myself, as far as my background, just to give people a perspective, I guess. Do I believe in God? Not the Christian sense. Do I believe in a creator? Yes, I do. So whether or not that excludes me from certain things, maybe, but I don't care. I think I can learn from everything and incorporate anything I need to make myself better as a person.
That's the most on point thing I've heard in a long time. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
So this sounds like, to me, Malice, this is just an organic conversation that just has to go where it has to go.
I completely agree. I mean, I don't want to try to control the direction that the conversation is going. I wanted to bring
I'll derail it anyway.
You know, I mean, I wanted to bring Maeve in because I wanted to bring in a different perspective. Maeve is also, so tomorrow, hopefully, though I have not gotten a response yet, hopefully we're going to be interviewing Christoph again, Christoph Bathory from Dawn of Ashes. If you guys are familiar with Agritech or kind of like the industrial metal scene, you should be familiar with Dawn of Ashes. The lead vocalist of Dawn of Ashes is Christoph Bathory. He will be on the show for a 4th time tomorrow, hopefully. Though he's a very busy man and has not been able to confirm a time yet, we have agreed that November 7th will be the Q&A. So if you guys are interested in kind of stopping by and kind of taking part in that, there is a video on the channel where we discuss the left-hand path with Christoph. So that could definitely be another part of it. Maeve is going to be joining me for that aspect of it. So we are going to have 2 co-hosts here on the Malice Experience. So it's going to be for the Saturday podcast. It is going to be Mystic and myself. And then we are going to be incorporating a Wednesday live show, which will have Maeve as the co-host for Wednesdays. We are going to be discussing specifically Gothic and alternative culture, which could incorporate a little bit of the religious aspect of things, but not as much. We're going to be focusing on more kind of like the fashion and the music and things of that nature. Onto the
I can
Malice
see
Experience.
it religion. I can definitely see it religion. Not to interrupt you at all, because
Go for it.
there's so much. There's so much. At least I'm in my 40s, man. I grew up in the 90s shit, right? So Gothic industrial back then, what was it? And the fashion was very Christian or anti-Christian, depending on how you want to look at it. And it was always very much in your face there. So like PVC, nun outfits, upside down cross, whatever you want to say, like pentacles. It's all part of that.
The Ankh.
Oh fuck! Oh. The Ankh is life, man. I would still wear an Ankh. I still have an Ankh somewhere.
See, I graduated high school in '99, and I was not goth myself as far as what it was at that point through the late '80s, early '90s. But every one of my friends was, and that's where all of the gay kids went to, because we were all the misfits, and it was a big bucket of misfits, and it was just the best thing ever.
That's the beauty of the whole subculture itself. It's everyone who was essentially a reject
Yep.
being
Exactly.
incorporated, and we all had our back. And it doesn't matter whether what your sexuality was, what your beliefs were. We all came together. We wore black and leather and PVC, and we just had fucking good time and had good music and fucking danced.
Yep.
I miss that.
So do I.
So do I. Like, honestly.
I think look, Malice, if you do make it down to Florida, even if it's not recently or soon, like if it's like 6 years from now, who knows? We should do a makeover. Like I should do a goth makeover.
Oh, I'm down.
That would be so much fun.
We would
Mystic as a goth.
We definitely would have to get Ziggy in on that, though.
Because the closest I ever got to was like I was a total rave kid for a while, and that the glow sticks and all that stuff, and the
gravers were a thing, man.
Yeah, I know.
I was a fucking graver.
But yeah, Mystic, we definitely would have to get like Ziggy in it.
I'm game. Bring it on.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, if I'm up in Newark, we're going to do that.
Hello,
Ziggy.
Hello, Zuzu. You're not the only one that can do it.
But you can't do it like I do it.
Well, let's ask her which one she likes better.
Hello, it's true.
Hello.
Malice wins.
Screw all you bitches. I hate y'all.
Malice wins. I sure as hell hope Malice wins.
I don't want to speak for Ziggy too much, but I suspect she's going to say Malice wins. No offense to Mystic.
Oh, none taken. That's hilarious.
So definitely. So Wednesdays there are going to be an extra episode of the Malice Experience, specifically surrounding kind of like goth culture, music, fashion, all of those types of things. Everyone, by the way, hail the Queen. The Queen is here. And if you don't know who that is, I'm talking about Ziggy.
I thought you were talking about Rook.
Maybe,
like if you.
I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah,
we're married. 14 years later.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, yeah. So Wednesday that's going to be a thing. Saturdays are still going to be focused on kind of like the spiritual aspect of things, like the way this channel is kind of meant to be. But I do want to incorporate a little bit of goth culture into the channel, guys, because like goth culture is a big thing for me. So I kind of want to bring that to you as well for those of you that are interested in that. But the primary focus is still going to be kind of based around, the things that we've been talking about, over the last few months. And I wanted to introduce, Maeve to you guys because Maeve is going to be co-hosting with me that aspect of things on Wednesdays. So it's going to be,
it's a new experience for me, by the way. So I'm not shy to say that either.
So yeah. So there you go. So that's
when are you starting?
Tomorrow, if the interview goes through with Christoph. I have not heard from Christoph to confirm the hour, so I haven't done any advertising for it because he hasn't told me what the hell
which
time
Wednesday?
We're going to be doing it.
Are you starting the next Wednesday? For your Wednesday?
Yeah, and this Wednesday coming.
Okay.
Why?
I want to watch, but I think I have a freaking corporate dinner crap Wednesday. I might have to get sick that evening.
Might have to get sick that evening?
Wait a minute. That's on recording, isn't it? Shit.
Yeah, now they know. Now they know.
We can cut that out.
And thankfully, I like the people I work with, so the dinner won't be bad. It'll be fun. But I'd rather it be... I'll be in a hotel regardless anyway, if I can get freaking internet to work ever. So there's that. So just kind of expanding the content base, guys. That's pretty much it.
I'm still gonna kind of keep, like, again, focus is still gonna be the same focus. I know why you guys are here. I know what the content you guys like. And by the way, chat, another thing that I wanted to talk about really quick, kind of off the topic of kind of like everything else. Take my glasses off for this one. Guys, thank you so much for all of your fucking support. Like, seriously. Over the last 3 days, I think we've hit damn near almost like 100 follows, you know, in the last 3 days, or 100 subscriptions in the last 3 days. You guys are fucking amazing. All right. We are growing. We are getting bigger. The message is going to get out there. Okay. We are going to bring our community together. Okay. We are going to bring our community together. Working together is the only way that we're going to be able to bring our community together, and we're doing that. All right. We're growing. I'm not going to say we're small because we've got big dick energy in this motherfucker. All right. And
big
we
bananas.
are growing. And we're growing, and we are going to bring the message out there. We're going to show the evangelical extremists that they can't fuck with us. And we're going to show everyone else that thinks that it needs to be kind of like a separatist, cannibalistic kind of thing, that it doesn't have to be that way, that we can work together. Okay, that is the mission that we have in this community, is to bring that message out there that as a cultists, big banana power. Yeah, Jay.
Dude, that is absolutely going to be the first shirt that I am going to retain you on, because you still owe me for that 2080.
Okay.
We need it.
Big banana power.
Big banana power. I'm telling you, if that's not a religious, just it has to happen.
I definitely agree. I think that needs to be a T-shirt. I
Dude,
would be more than willing
I
to
love
make
it.
that actually happen. So
I'll pay for it, I promise. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're bringing it together. We're bringing it home, guys. It's gonna take time, but we got this. We got this. If there's any community that can do it, I know that it's gonna be us. We just need to be welcoming of new people and people that are doubtful. We just need to kind of explain what it is that we're here for. You know, what it is that we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to bring people together. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to take over. We're not trying to, you know, squash ideas. We're trying to elevate. That's what we're doing. We're elevating everyone that joins this community. Okay? That is the focus. Okay?
I'm gonna make a like, I don't want to say a promise, but a statement on behalf of everybody that participates at any point. And that is, if you bring your beliefs and your feelings and your thoughts into the discussion in a way that is open and learning and sharing and respectful, we'll always respect it. We'll always listen to it. May not agree to it, but we'll always listen. And I think that is something that we all need to do more of.
I agree. 100%.
Like, the more people that I have had in this last year disagree with me, the more I have learned exponentially about my own path. Like, in the podcast, the discussions, this has been just an incredible benefit to growing as a person. It's not even changing thoughts or beliefs or ideas. It's literally just changed the context and the scaffolding of how I learn and do things. It's insanely different now than it was 2 years ago. And most of that is because of the conversations we have. It's the chat. It's the weird questions that I have to think and be like, wait a minute, what the hell are you talking about? Like, those are the things that get us to learn new stuff, but also support each other when we're trying to do it. Yeah. I'm gonna get too emotional now because I'm getting drunk. I love you guys.
Nothing wrong with that.
My unicorn vomit's rubbing off.
I've already
I
had a
just-
drink, so I'm good.
Well, I think the thing is, right? So like a lot of people have this kind of preconceived idea, especially when they think of Satanists and the left-hand path and things like that. That, you know, like there's a joke earlier in chat. There's like, oh, I thought people that, you know, I thought Satanists didn't like other people, or like, well, left-hand path didn't like other people. And it was a joke, but I mean, sadly, there is this preconceived notion that, you know, we don't like to kind of work with other people, that we don't like to, you know, grow with other people, and that's a misconception that I would like to squash. Okay, like I would like to squash that. Yes, a lot of us like darker shit. I mean, I'm the fucking epitome of that. All right, I love my fucking pentagrams and like my dark shit. I fucking love it. You know, you know, the closer that my office looks like a satanic temple, you know, the happier I am. You know, there you go. You know, but just because I like the aesthetic, just because I stand by that aesthetic and it's a part of me, does not mean that I'm against working with other people or accepting other people with different ideas, right? I want to have as many different ideas in this community as humanly possible, because the only way that we're going to learn and grow, guys, understand, St. Patrick is a fucking saint because he destroyed the literature and the people that carried our message throughout the ages. He killed them in the name of God and Christianity.
And it's correct me if I'm wrong here. St. Patrick was also he was a druid before he was he was a Christian.
He turned on his own people. He was like one of the reasons why fucking people can call themselves. I have a friend that calls himself a Christian druid, which made me want to smack him in the back of the head. But I was like, all right, whatever.
Whole nother topic that we cannot touch on tonight, but that is terminology and how words matter. It takes me back to the fight about the word warlock, and it pisses me off when people are like, oh, you can't use the word warlock. It means you're an oath breaker. Yeah, because the freaking oath that you broke was to the Christian church when you became a druid, or you weren't part of the church. Mm-hmm. I'm one of them because I was baptized as a kid without any option, didn't get to choose that.
I was never baptized, so I don't know.
I was, but I broke that oath a couple times.
Good for you.
So, you know, so the thing is with everything being kind of like everything in our history being all over the place, everything scattered into pieces, the only way that we're truly going to be able to learn and grow is from each other, because all of us are getting our knowledge from different places, which is why our Gilded server exists. If you want to throw that in there again, Mystic.
Already did like 3 minutes ago.
Not even. Like,
but I'll do it again.
The Gilded server exists for that reason, so that we can share our experiences and our ideas. I don't care what it is that you believe, as long as you're not coming in telling other people that they shouldn't believe what they're believing. If you're coming in saying, hey, this is what I believe and this is why I believe it, that there are two totally different approaches to it. Okay, just because you can't make somebody else believe what it is that you believe in that moment does not invalidate your belief. But the biggest thing is, do not invalidate other people's beliefs. That's like the only rule. We're here to learn from each other, to grow from each other, to become better through each other. Okay? That is the big thing. Okay? That is what we're trying to push forward. You know, so
that app link is getting on my nerves.
What link?
The app link isn't working on Gilded.
No?
It did this before. Try that one. New link.
No. That's the idea, guys. That is what we're trying to do, right? And when you guys see me reacting to a video as somebody that's saying that all of us should be murdered, killed, or thrown into a fucking prison, I'm doing those videos, one, to call out the people that are saying that shit, and two, to again try to bring us together. That is the idea. Because I'm trying to create a defense line against these people out there that are saying that we're all evil. Because it doesn't matter how white light you think you are. The evangelical extremists still think you should be put to death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't care if you are full white light fucking Wiccan. According to the fundamentalist fucking evangelicals, there's no such thing as a good witch, and that all of us should be put to death. So when you have an enemy like that is out in the public with hundreds of thousands of views spewing that hate and that bullshit out there, somebody needs to fucking stand the line. I just decided to stop waiting for somebody else to do it and start doing it myself. So we need to come together. That's that. Guys, I think for this evening, I think that is going to cover this evening's podcast. Guys, this has been, I think, a very productive conversation. This has been very fun. Mystic, Maeve, do you guys have anything you'd like to add?
I don't think I have anything really to add, like overall, other than all of the things that we've talked about tonight in summary mean the same thing. It's literally about be willing to have the conversation, be willing to be challenged, be willing to be wrong, be willing to admit you're wrong. And if none of those things are true and you're actually right about everything, then be right about it and be right about it humbly and have the discussion. I mean, really, that's what it is. Talk about it, be wrong, be right, doesn't matter. Just talk. Be willing
Yep.
to add things. I can't. I've never been able to find the right word for my practice. Eclectic, solitary, coven-based, witch. I mean, I have a small group. I like to
Well, that's
practice
the
on my
thing.
own. I have Rook. I have, Wiccan stuff that's where 10 years of being fully into Wicca and then kind of left that a little bit. And it's just all a big hodgepodge of stuff. And it's great. It's how I got here.
I don't have much to add myself. I do appreciate coming on and being able to actually converse and speak and express some views. I love that chance again, certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's all I want to say is I really do appreciate it because I do enjoy being part of the conversation. I do enjoy listening, learning, but also at the same time I enjoy giving my opinion, my experience. And if that can help anyone to find their own path, to decide, hey, this works for me, or hey, I don't have to follow this path, but I can take this part of this path and incorporate it into myself, and I can more or less develop my own path. That's a win for me. So if I can help do
Absolutely.
that, I'm really fucking happy.
That's fucking awesome, man. Appreciate it. All
No
right,
better way to say it.
everyone, my lovely demons, thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. You are all beautiful and amazing. Okay, we're on our way. We're getting there. All right, and we're just gonna keep growing from here. You guys have a wonderful evening. From us to you, that's gonna be it, guys.